Hi everyone, welcome back to some more of Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's library. Today we'll finally get to get inside the library and see what it's like. It's a pretty amazing place. Chapter 10. Now this is what I call a party, said Kyle's mother as she helped herself to a bacon-wrapped shrimp from a tray being carried by a waiter in a tuxedo. Kyle and his parents were in the crowded ballroom of the Parker House Hotel for the Lemoncello Library's gala grand opening reception. The Parker House was located right across the street from the old Gold Leaf Bank building in a cluster of office buildings, craft shops, clothing stores, and restaurants called Old Town. I'm going to see if I can find Akimi, Kyle said his mom and dad. Give her our congratulations, said his mom. We're proud of her too, said his dad. Kyle made his way through the glittering sea of dressed-up adults. Even though his parents had put on fancy clothes for the reception, Kyle was wearing something comfortable to go exploring in, and as instructed in his lock-in guide he received on Wednesday. He packed a sleeping bag and a small suitcase with a change of clothes, toiletries, and yes, as requested, an extra pair of underpants. Kyle saw Sierra Russell all alone in the corner near a clump of curtains. It didn't look like her mother had come with her to the party. Sierra, of course, had her nose buried in a book. Kyle shook his head. The girl was about to spend a night in a building filled with books, and she was already reading? That's just nutty. Haley Daly, wearing a sparkling blouse, was posing for a wall of photographers who wanted to snap her picture. Her mother was at the party too. While the cameras were focused on Haley's smile, Mrs. Daly wrapped a couple of chicken kebabs in a napkin and slipped them in her purse. Now Kyle saw Charles Chillington. Poor guy must not have read the memo about comfortable clothes. He was still wearing his khakis and blazer just like his dad. Kyle figured the Chillington family must have about 300 pairs of tan pants. Hey, Kyle, Akimi waved to him. Hey, said Kyle, did you remember to bring your library card? Yep, said Kyle, and pulled it from his pocket. Huh, I have different books on the back of mine. I have One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish by Dr. Seuss and 9 Stories by J.D. Salinger. Guess they're like baseball cards, said Kyle. They're all different. I think it's something else. Hey, you guys, Miguel came over, more excited than usual, which was to say something. He pushed through a mob to join them. Did you guys try these puffy, cheesy things? Nah, said Kyle. I'm sticking to food I recognize. The puffy, cheesy things are called fromage tartlets, said Andrew Peckelman, coming over to the group. Huh, said Kyle. Good to know. The waiter passed with a tray loaded down with small boxes of Mr. Lemoncello's anagram cracker cookies. Ooh, I love these, said Kyle, taking a box off the platter and opening it. The cookies are in the shapes of letters, and you have to see how many words you can make. Cool, said Miguel, and they taste good. Yep, said Kyle. The more you eat, the harder the game gets. Why? Because you have less letters, said Akimi, as she wolfed down a Q. Barbecue flavor. Kyle spread out the remaining cookies on his palm. UNFEHAV. He grinned. Have fun, it said. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Dr. Zachenko, dressed in a bright red suit, strode into the center of the ballroom. May I have your attention, please? Mr. Lemoncello will be arriving shortly to say a few brief words. After that, I will escort the 12 essay contest winners across the street to the library. Therefore, children might suggest that you eat up. Food and drink are not permitted anywhere in the library except at the Book Nook Cafe, conveniently located on the first floor. Miguel grabbed a few more puffy, cheesy things. When she thought no one was looking, Mrs. Daly shoved a napkin bundle of bacon-wrapped shrimp into her purse. Akimi nibbled a couple more chocolate-dipped pretzel sticks. Aren't you going to grab some more grub? She said to Kyle. No thanks. I only like food I can play with. One last thing, announced Dr. Zinchenko. We, of course, want our winners to have fun tonight. However, I must insist that each of you respect one simple rule. Be gentle with each other, and especially with the library's books and exhibits. Can you do that for me? Yes, everyone shouted, except Charles Chillington, who said, indubitably. Good thing the library has a dictionary, said Akimi. Half the time, it's the only way to figure out what Chillington is saying. Suddenly, all of the adults started clapping. Mr. Lemoncello looked like a beanpole wearing a tall coat and a tiny birthday party fireman's hat strode into the room. Thank you, he said, stretching an elastic band to raise a kid-sized hat and tipping it toward the crowd. You are much too kind. He let go of the hat and it snapped with a sharp thwack. As Dr. Zinchenko informed you, I'd like to say a few brief words. Here they are: short, memorandum, and underpants. And let us pause to remember the immortal word of Dr. Seuss: the more you read, the more you will know. The more you learn, the more places you'll go. Children, Mr. Lemoncello flourished his arm toward the ballroom doors. It's time to go across the street and start your adventure. Chapter 11. Eager to see what was inside the new library, the 12 contest winners quickly gathered behind Dr. Zinchenko. "This way, children," she said. "Follow me." The crowd cheered as they marched out of the ballroom, all touting their sleeping bags and suitcases. There was more cheering, plus some hooting and hollering, when they reached the hotel lobby and went out the revolving doors to the street. The new public library, with its glimmering gold dome, took up half a block. Its back butted up against an old-fashioned office tower. The building was a boxy fortress, 3 stories tall, with stately columns that acted like bookends. Because the windows had been painted to resemble a row of giant books lined up on a shelf. I'm just visualizing that, guys. That must look so cool. "It's like a majestic Greek temple," said Miguel. "And the world's biggest bookcase," said Sierra, who finally got her nose out of a book. Velvet ropes lined the path across the street that led to the red carpet leading up a flight of steps to the arch entryway. And seriously steel, not to mention round, front door. Kyle had to smile when he saw what was tethered to the railings. Balloons! A big bruiser, maybe 6'4", 250 pounds, with sunglasses and a black sports coat, stood in front of the library's circular door, which had several large valve wheels like you'd see in a submarine hatch. The guard wore long hair and ropey dreadlocks. "What's with the door?" said Haley Daly, who, of course, had pushed her way to the front. "It looks like it came from a bank vault or something." "It's the door from the old Gold Leaf Bank's walk-in vault," said Dr. Zinchenko. "It weighs 20 tons. Akimo turned around and whispered, "My dad designed this support structure for that thing. Check out those hinges." Kyle nodded. He was impressed. "Why a vault door?" said Kayla Corson. "Because," said Dr. Zinchenko, "one sleepy Saturday, when Mr. Lemoncello was your age, he was working in the old public library on Market Street. He was so lost in his thoughts, he did not hear the sirens as police cars raced past the library to the bank, where a burglar alarm had been activated. This door serves as a reminder to us. Our thoughts are safe when we are inside a library. Not even a bank robbery can disturb them." Miguel was nodding like crazy. He could relate. "It also helps us to keep our most valuable treasures secure." "There aren't any windows," observed Andrew Peckerman, "probably to stop bank robbers from busting in. But shouldn't you people have added windows when you turn to a library?" "A library doesn't need windows, Andrew. We have books, which are the windows into worlds that you never dreamed possible." "An open book is an open mind," said Charles Chillington. "That's what I always say." Dr. Zinchenko pulled out a bright red note card. "Before we enter, please listen very carefully. Your library cards are the key to everything you will need. The library staff is here to help you find whatever you're looking for." She smiled slightly, tucked the card back into her pocket, and turned to the security guard. "Clarence, will you do the honors?" "With a pleasure, Mrs. Dr. Z." Clarence turned one giant wheel, spun another, and cranked a third. Noiselessly, a 20-ton door swung open. The first thing Kyle could see inside was the trickling fountain of a grand foyer of brilliant white marble. The fountain featured a life-size statue of Mr. Lemoncello standing on a lily pad in the middle of a shallow reflecting pool 10 feet wide. His head was tilted back so the water was spurting out of his mouth. Kyle noticed a quote chiseled into the statue's pedestal. "Knowledge not shared remains unknown. Luigi Lemoncello." Beyond the fountain, through the arched walkway, was a huge room filled with desks. When everyone had shuffled into the entrance, Dr. Zinchenko turned to the security guard. "Clarence?" Clarence hauled the heavy steel door shut. Kyle heard the whirl of spinning wheels and the clink of grinding gears and a clunk. Wow, talk about a lock-in. "I'll be in the control center, Dr. Z," said the security guard. "Now then, children, if you will follow me to the rotunda reading room." As the rest of the group started filing into the gigantic circular room, Kyle checked out the display case by the red door. A sign said, "Staff Picks, our most memorable reads." A dozen books were lined up on 4 shelves. One cover in the middle of the bottom row caught Kyle's eye. It showed a football player wearing a number 19 jersey dropping back to hurl a pass. Kyle made a mental note of the title. In the Pocket, Johnny Unitas and Me. Tomorrow morning when the lock-in was over, he might use his library card to check out that book. Wow. Everyone gasped as they stepped into the rotunda reading room and looked up. The entire underside of the dome looked like space as seen from the Hubble telescope. A dusty spiral nebula billowed up, a galaxy of stars twinkled, and meteorites whirled across the ceiling. Ooh. The space imagery on the ceiling dissolved into 10 distinct panels, each one becoming a display of swirling graphics. Those are the 10 categories of the Dewey Decimal System, said Miguel. See the panel with Cleopatra and the guy mountain climbing and the Viking ship? That's for 900 to 999. History and geography. Cool, said Kyle. Tucked beneath the 10 screens were niches where incredible 3D statues were glowing. I believe those are the holographic projections, said Andrew Peckelman, waving up at a statue that was waving down at him. The room under the dome was huge. It was circular, with a round desk in the center that was surrounded by 4 rings of reading desks. Kyle saw that half of the rotunda was filled with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. The other half had balconies on the second floor, and the third floor reminded him of the open atrium of a hotel that he and his family had stayed at once. While everyone was gawking at the architecture, Dr. Zinchenko said the words Kyle had been waiting for to hear all day. Now, who's ready for our first game? Chapter 12. Will everyone please line up behind the far desk toward the children's room, said Dr. Zinchenko. How many of you are familiar with Mr. Lemoncello's classic board game, Hurry to the Top of the Heap? 12 hands shot up. Very good, said Dr. Zinchenko. Overhead, the Wonder Dome dissolved into a gigantic curved heap. Box top. This will be a live 3-dimensional version of the game. Each of you will be asked a trivia question. If you'll be able to answer correctly, you will roll the dice and advance the equivalent number of desks. When you return to the starting point, you will move to the next concentric circle of desks. When you complete that ring, you will move to the next, and so on. If one of you makes it all the way to the desk in the center, you will be declared the winner. But we don't have any dice, said Yasmin Smith-Snyder. Oh, yes, you do. Do you see that glass panel in the center of the desk? It's actually a touch-screen computer, currently running Mr. Lemoncello's dice rolling app. Simply swipe and flick your fingers, and the dice will roll. Dr. Zinchenko placed a stack of red cards on her desk. Before we begin, are there any questions? Charles Chillington raised his hand. Of course he did. Yes, Mr. Chillington. What will the winner win? After all, the prize is the most important part of the game. Kyle didn't totally agree. He was too excited about playing the game to say anything. Tonight's first prize is the golden key, granting the winner access to Mr. Lemoncello's private and very posh bedroom suite up on the library's 3rd floor. Instead of spending the night on the floor in a sleeping bag, you will be relaxing in luxury with a feather bed, a 22-inch television screen, and a state-of-art gaming console. Okay, Kyle was definitely interested in the prize. Judging from the wide-open eyes and the chorus of oohs and wows, so was everybody else. Dr. Zinchenko flipped over the first question. What major league pitcher was the last to win at least 30 games in one season? 6 players got it wrong before Kyle got it right. Denny McLain. Correct. He swiped the glass panel, rolled a 10, and advanced 10 desks around the room. What United States naval ship was once captured by the Northern Koreans? Miguel got that one. The USS Pueblo. He got a 12 and moved around the room. What did Apollo 8 accomplish that had never been done before? Hakimi, Andrew, and Kayla struck out on that one. But Charles knew the answer. It was the first spacecraft to orbit the moon. Correct. Chillington rolled a 5, landing him in last place. Kyle's next question was tougher. Who was famous for saying, "Book 'em, Dano"? That guy on Hawaii 5-0? Please be more specific. The one with the shiny hair. Oh, Jack Lord. That's correct. Kyle breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness he and Dad sometimes watched TV reruns on the weekends. But when he flicked the computerized dice, his luck hit a brick wall. he rolled snake eyes and only moved 2 spaces. Meanwhile, Miguel went down with a question about Barbara Streisand. Kyle wasn't sure who she was. And Charles Chillington surged ahead with a correct answer about the Beatles. As the game went on, Kyle and Chillington, the only player still standing, kept answering correctly and moving around the room until they were both seated at the desk in the innermost ring, only 6 spaces away from Dr. Zachenko and 6 spaces away from victory. Kyle was seriously glad he and his mom had played so many games of Trivial Pursuit. Kyle, here is your next question. What song in the Dr. Dolittle movie won the Academy Award? Kyle squinted. He had that movie. He had an old VHS cassette, and his mom bought it at a garage sale. Too bad they didn't have a VCR to watch it on. But even though he had never seen the movie, he had read the front and the back of the box a couple times. Talk to the Animals? Correct! He started breathing again. Please roll the dice, Mr. Keeley. Kyle did. Another pair of 1s. He moved 2 spaces. Now he was 4 desks away from winning. Mr. Chillington, here is your next question. Who was elected president in 1968? I believe that was Richard Milhouse Nixon. You are correct. Chillington didn't wait for the librarian to tell him to roll the dice. He flicked his fingers across the pad. Yes! Double 6s again! He moved to the last desk, rapping on their tops, counting them off, even though everyone knew that 12 was good enough to get him to the finish line. Congratulations, Mr. Chillington, Dr. Zinchenko said, and she handed the key to the private suite. You are this evening's first winner. Thank you, Dr. Zinchenko. I am truly and sincerely honored. Congratulations, Charles, said Kyle. Way to win. Get used to it, Keeley, he said. I'm a Chillington. We never lose. Tune in later for a few more chapters.